guess y'all now had the week to kind of focus solely on Georgia, just
Right.
having watched film. What are the differences you've seen in that offense since y'all's game in October?
Well, I think the one thing they're doing really well is taking care of the football. They're not turning the ball over, but they're also just executing at a really, really high level. And their playmakers are making plays. And that's the one thing about a really good football team is, their playmakers are going to make plays, and if you take care of the football, you're going to, be continuing playing at the end of the season, and that's what they're doing really well. They're blocking well, they're catching the football well. Not as many drops as early on in the season, but their playmakers are making plays and they're taking care of the football.
I know tackling was a little bit of an issue the last time you guys played. Looking back on that, was that being out of position? Was that technique? I guess what sorts of things go into that, and how do you improve upon that this time?
Well, I think the biggest thing from that game, if you look at it, the number one thing was leverage, and just having the correct leverage on whether it's blocks as well as angles on tackles. Those are the things that, go into tackling as opposed to just the physical aspect of it as well, is taking a correct angle. So we, have tried to correct that throughout the year, working on it, right now tirelessly, just making sure because you're going against a really good football team that has some speed. So we want to make sure we keep edges and do a really good job of tackling. But the angles are really, really key. And then some of it is want to, as well. So you got to want to tackle these big backs.
Bryan, along those lines from that game, was there anything, everybody always talks about what you didn't do well in that game. Was there anything that you did do well that you can build on, that had you done it slightly better, it could have been a different outcome in October?
Well, I think the one thing we did, I think early on in the game was we got them into a couple of third and longs. And, and if you can do that versus any team, that helps put you in a situation to be able to get off the football field and get a ball back to your offense. We got them in third and long, but they converted on those third and longs. And so we got to do a really good job. When we get them behind the sticks, we have to do a really good job of getting off the field and executing at a very high level so we can get the ball back to offense. So I think that's the one thing I think early on that we did well, but after that, we didn't do too much well in that game.
Please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but it looked like early in the season you guys kind of struggled with, like, motion would get guys' eyes in the wrong places. Mm-hmm. Offenses were able to take advantage of that. How much of that do you feel like has been improved in the last few weeks? It looks like you guys have handled that better.
Yeah, I think a lot. I think within this scheme of the defense, we do multiple different things and change the different formations and stuff like that to where if you hadn't been in the system or not, sometimes it may get a little hairy at times. But I think our guys have gotten so much better because now they've grown, and playing together, been in the system, a little bit more. What is this, game number 14, 13, getting ready to come up, 14, getting ready to come up. So, you got guys like Sage, Ryan, and Cap, Wadet, who was not here last year. So now they've grown into understanding the system, kind of like the back of their hand now. And so they're able to adjust to different formations and motions a lot quicker than we were early on. But those guys have gotten so much better, and I'm proud of them.
What is it about Stockton that makes him so difficult? I mean, he doesn't have all the measurables and all those kinds of things, but, the guy just wins. What is it about him that makes him hard to defend? I
think he's just a football player. He's a gamer, as people call him. But he does a great job of extending plays with his legs, and it's not just to run, but also to be able to keep his eyes down on the field and be able to throw. And if he needs to run, he will. He'll extend drives and be able to pick up first downs. And so I think he just makes the right plays, and that's the one thing that, people get misconstrued on as far as quarterback-wise, that you have to be this pocket passer and you have to be this certain size. No, we want football players, and that's what Gunnar is. He's a good football player that, makes the right football plays. Like, I'm a basketball junkie as well, play basketball, and you think about LeBron James, he makes the right plays. And when you can do that, you put your team in a situation to be successful on the field and put yourself in a situation to be able to win.
Antonio Kite already announced that he's returning for next year. He's a transfer that came in this year. He's had a little injury history, but as far as how he's come along and what that means for next year, I know it's all about the Sugar Bowl now, but what have you seen from him as far as growth and then also getting him back for next year?
Well, I think with Kite coming in, from Auburn, from the portal, you had things that were said about him, but I think this kid has come in and done exactly what we asked him to do. Whether it's off the field, on the field, he's strived to be the best that he possibly can be. Continue to get better within the scheme of the defense. He's getting healthy now, and that's a positive thing to see. because early on in the year you could tell, hey, he can be really, really, really special from a coverage standpoint, a coverage corner. And I'm just glad we're able to get him back for next year as well, but also for this game. And so look forward to seeing what, Kite is going to hold for the near future for us.
And as far as this walking this weird kind of parallel line because of the calendar itself, you're having to prepare for the Sugar Bowl, but also think about next year roster considerations. The back end was something y'all were concerned about coming in. It's gotten better over the season, but like, what would you like to see, or what have y'all kind of targeted? Is what y'all need to go after in the portal, and how is it hard to balance that?
Well, I think, like you say, the calendar doesn't make things easier, especially for playoff teams and even some teams that's, in some of these late bowl games. You're trying to prepare, you're trying to, get your scheme and game plan and things of that nature for your game, which is the most important, but also understanding that the future is important as well. And so, it's some long hours at times. You're trying to figure out, what is it that you actually need, moving forward. But sometimes you may not know until the second, because we may have some guys get in the portal we didn't expect to get in the portal. And so you just have to adjust on the fly. But I think you look at it as, hey, we need every position, just moving forward, from on offense and defense side of football, just to make sure that you're prepared, for that moment when that moment does come. If somebody that you didn't think would get in the portal, they end up jumping the portal, so you're already prepared. But it's some long hours to make sure that we got our I's, dotted and our T's, crossed as well from the portal as well as game planning wise.
Coach, Will Echols announced his intention to come back. He's the leading tackler on the defensive front for you guys. What's he meant to the program, and how's he anchored that defensive front for you?
Oh, man, Will's a Mississippi guy, like myself, and so I'm proud that we got a really good football on our side of the football and just on our team that's from the state of Mississippi that's leading us, the way that Will is leading us and anchoring that front and has done a tremendous job, for us up front. He comes in to work every day. He brings his iPad to work, and taking notes, like no other with Coach Joyner, who does a tremendous job of coaching him. But it's just a thrill to see him practice because he practices the way he plays. He plays violently, he practices violently. He punches at the ball violently. He does the exact same thing in the game. And so, we preach that to our guys all the time. You practice, all right, the way that you're going to play the game. And that's the way he's approached it. And it's good to be able to have him back, so now he can help recruit, some of these guys that we need in the portal, but also some guys that we want to be able to stay. And so it's a great deal to be able to have Will to come back for us this coming up season at 26.
Prince Will's been on a tear here lately, I think 6 sacks in his last 6 games. Has that just been him getting healthy, or I guess what's sort of been unlocked in him over this stretch?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. Again, it's a portal guy that was not here, all of, 24. And so now he's getting understanding the system, and now he's able to play a whole lot faster. And that's one thing that you're seeing from a lot of the guys that are the first year within the scheme of the defense in the program. They're playing a lot faster here late in the season, and I think those guys up front, especially him as well, Prince Will, he's able to see his keys. He understands what his strengths and weaknesses is, and he's able to go out there and perform at the best of his ability within the scheme of the defense. So he's done a tremendous job, and we're excited for him as well.
Coach, we go back to the first game with Georgia in Athens. Their tight end that day had not caught a touchdown pass, left that game with 3. Was that just coverage bust?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That was a busted coverage, and hopefully we don't have that this coming up game. But it was busted coverages. One, he made a pretty good play. But other than that, it got to be busted coverage if nobody's within 5 yards of him. And so our eyes, hopefully will continue to be cleaned up this coming up game. And, just from calls and communication and things of that nature, hopefully we don't have anybody just running loose, because that's a big part of the game plan as well, to make sure we have all plays contested.
Awesome. Okay, we'll go to questions on Zoom. Reminder to raise your hand. I'll call you all one by one, and then lower your hand when you're done asking the question. Anyone have questions on Zoom? No questions?
No questions?
Okay.
Good.
We'll end it. Yeah,
Awesome.
you're good.
Hey, appreciate you guys. Howdy toddy.